My name is Thomas Yount. I'm a resident of Normal. Lived here since 1997. I'm married with two small children. Oldest is an 8-year-old. His name is Holden. And my youngest is a 4-year-old. His name is Evan.
All right. And what brought you to Normal?
ISU. I came all the way out here from New Jersey to go to ISU.
Okay.
I'm a little bit of a legacy. My parents went to ISU. My older brother went to ISU. So when it came time for me to pick schools, I decided upon ISU.
And this was for your undergrad degree?
Yes, it was.
All right. What'd you major in?
I was going to be in education with a minor in history, but unfortunately, I did not make it out of my first year.
Okay. So what happened after that?
I went into the workforce. I tried community college for a little bit. Didn't really fit with what I was trying to do with my life, and entered the workforce, and have been ever since then.
So, from New Jersey.
Yes.
And you said this is the smallest place that you have lived.
Yes, it is.
What was the transition like for you, going from such a big place to Normal?
It was very tough. Not only the size and the scope of where I lived, but just everything else that was involved with it. From the local media on the news channels to getting a farm report at 5 o'clock in the morning. Just different trying to get accustomed to a different way of life.
Have you gotten accustomed to it
yet? Yes. I talk about the farm. I talk about farming with some of my customers. And it's just entered into my everyday life. It's grown and to a point to where it's at a comfortable level. It's seen some great improvements, especially in the uptown area. The town has really, I think, focused some of the attention to this area. And other than that, it's trying to become a bigger city, but stay with that small town feel.
Definitely. I had interviewed a student earlier today, and she kind of mentioned, she's an ISU student right now, and she said, whenever I first got here, I felt part of the ISU community and not the Normal community. So she actually only identified solely with campus.
Yes.
Did you kind of see yourself in that same position whenever you got here?
Yes. Yeah. There are two different worlds. There's the ISU campus world and everything that's involved with the student life, and then there's the town life and what goes on with stuff like that. We live here. You guys are here just for 7 months, so it's there is a life that goes on outside of what the students do. But I think the town does a great job of trying to make the students feel at home when they're here. I was not a student here for any of the changes in uptown, so I don't know what that's like versus student life when I was here. It was a much more nightlife kind of feel in downtown when I was here, so that has changed. So. My wife. We met at one of my jobs that I had. I worked at a local grocery store, and that's where we had met. So came down to it, just decided to stay.
How did you know that your wife was the one?
You just feel it. You just feel it. It's just one of those things that I don't want to maybe see her every day or talk to her every day, but she's the one that I want to spend the rest of my life. And it was a feeling that I had. We were dating 6-7 months maybe, and I just felt it. I was like, this is the girl I'm going to marry. Of course, I didn't tell her that. 3 years later, I proposed. So.
Oh, that's great.
No, not really. I wish I did something super romantic. Our favorite place to eat breakfast was Bob Evans. We went out to Bob Evans that morning, came back to our place that we lived at the time, and she had gone to open the door. And as she had opened the door, I turned around and got down on one knee and asked her for her hand in marriage. So I think I was just like, would you marry me? I can't remember exactly how I said it, but I did the traditional thing. I went to her, went up and talked to her dad and asked him, and he was like, well, what took you so long? So it was good, but yeah, that's nothing really romantic, but something that meant something to us.
Tell me your happiest moment that you can think of this far.
Oh, definitely the birth of the kids. I mean, when you're a parent, there's nothing that replaces that, and everything to that point is replaced by the birth. It's truly a magical thing to watch your wife go through 9 months of just happiness, sad, unknowing. First one is scary. First one is just scary for everyone. But yeah, the birth of my children. I mean, hands down, best thing that's ever happened to me. Yes. I still identify as a kid. I'm the youngest of my family, so I've never really in my eyes, grown up. I've never reached the status of my father was, or even my 2 older brothers. So in my mind, I'm still 22, 23, even though you have to change that eventually, and I do. But so it's one of those aha moments that you identify with growing your family.
Okay, so you probably had a different plan for yourself. So
yes.
Are you doing what you thought you would be doing?
Not even close.
All right. What did you think you would be doing, and where are you at?
I thought I'd be a history teacher. I thought I'd be a high school history teacher. My mom was a teacher, and I thought that I would follow in those footsteps, but it turned out that wasn't my life calling. Mm-hmm. It takes a while to find people and find yourself in who you are, and it took me a little bit longer than it does some people. But I love what I do now. I never would have dreamed of doing what I do now. It just fell in my lap, and I just kind of excelled at what it is because it was something that I as a person was, and who I was as a person. And when you lucky enough to find a job that you can show who you are, you really do excel, and you really do enjoy.
Okay. What's been your saddest moment that you can think of this far?
Oh wow. Definitely probably going to tear up on this. So my parents divorced when I was 26, 27 years old. Tough for me to take it. They divorced because my mother was diagnosed with MS at the time. She was in her late 50s when she was diagnosed, so she missed the early diagnosis that would have helped her along with medicine and all of that. And then she's on medicine now. She's doing well. She has the right doctors. Looking good short term for her.
Yeah.
But there, of course, is no cure.
Right.
But then 2 years ago, my dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and that more than anything has affected me. I've always felt closer with my father than my mother, so his disease has affected me on a more personal level. Mm-hmm. So, but that's my saddest moment.
And seeing your parents both go through these issues and divorce during that, what did that do to you? However old you were when it happened.
Oh, yeah.
What did it do?
They got divorced right before I got married. So that was kind of a weird little irony twist.
Mm-hmm.
But before they even got diagnosed, I made sure that I told my children every day, that I love them, especially my father, because my mother was diagnosed before I had children. But take that lesson, and if you feel that you didn't hear I love you enough from your parents, you can change them.
Yeah.
So it's one of the lessons you learn is that the figures that you look up to and the parents that you have as a child won't be there for you.
Right.
And there comes a moment in your life when you see your parents not as your parents anymore.
What did you see them as?
You see them as people. And as people, they have a timeline on their life. And it's tough to realize sometimes.
What has been your biggest struggle to date, or do you think that you're going to face in the future?
I haven't even begun to face my struggles yet. I'm still lucky enough to have my parents around to where I can call them and say, I love you. I definitely see their deaths as a big step that I'm gonna have to cross.
Yeah.
And I'm nowhere even near ready to deal with that. But I'm glad that I have my wife and my family.
And what would you want whoever was to see this video and know who Thomas is? What would you want them to know about you? What would you want to say?
Smile every day.